Monday means more creative finance deals. We're gonna go over these deals. 3 houses I bought for $1,500 subject to from one seller. Hey, make sure to subscribe right now. The only way you know how to do these types of deals is by seeing live case studies. You're either doing it yourself and making offers to sellers, or you're looking at deals that have been done and knowing how to structure the deals and work the numbers. Make sure you subscribe and view every Monday these videos to be successful in creative real estate. All right, this lead came from PPC in October 2019. This lady lived in Arkansas. She had tenants in the property and all the properties. We initially made a cash offer to this lady. I forget exactly what the number was for a cash offer, but we put it out there. We got actually a bunch of people to go see the property, tour the homes, and nobody came in with a good offer. Every offer was lower. We reduced it, had a second showing, and it just wasn't moving for a cash sale. I knew there was opportunity here. This was in Dade City, Florida, between Orlando and Tampa, kind of by Zephyr Hills. The seller was motivated, and so I got on the phone with her and asked for a price reduction. We put out the rents of what we could get for these properties, which is like $1,100 a month if you fix them up a little bit and then continue to rent them out. I had people telling me like, there's no way you can get those rents, but I saw what was on the market and my own comps, and I thought we can get those numbers. So I made offers for me to keep them as rental properties, and I was gonna buy them with cash or hard money, private money. And so when I went to the seller to get a reduction, she said, I can't reduce that far, I have a mortgage. So in the front end, we didn't do enough discovery knowing that she had a mortgage. So we were able to find out that she had a mortgage on each property. And I said, hey, will you sell them for what you owe on them? And she said, yes. Amazing. So you have to ask the right questions. And on this one, with it being 3 properties, I'd say, hey, I appreciate you working with us. At the end, I was like, hey, we're just gonna give you $500 on top of each of one of them. So that way, we give you something for working with us. We appreciate you coordinating these inspections with us through these multiple tenants. So we gave her a little bit something for the property. I always try to give somebody a little something on a subject to deal and never try to really give them nothing at all. All right, so we bought these 3 properties, Lake Ave, Morgan, and Long Ave. So we got these 3 properties. It ended up being that Lake Ave ended up being vacant at closing. So these 2 we kept with tenants. We bought this for $54,500. We bought this one for $43,500, and this one for $55,000. So they all had loans on them, pretty close to the balance here. The total cash to close on all these 3 of these properties was $11,557. That was the cash to close with all the closing costs, giving her the $500 and taking over the mortgage as subject to. What we actually did, I didn't even use my own capital. So we borrowed private money. We borrowed $30K in private money at 10% interest only for 5 years. So we borrowed this money, this payment's $250 a month. So that $30K, wired to the title company, we got back $18,443. This money was used to put a new roof on Lake Ave, some flooring, some paint. We got this property rent ready with this fund. So this was rehab funds that we used for Lake Ave that we in turn rented for $1,100. So Lake Ave was now renting for $1,100 a month. So this one on Lake Ave, after we got the renovation done, we got it rented for $1,100 a month. The mortgage on this one was $365 for the mortgage, P&I. Taxes were about $150, insurance was $100. So $1,100 minus principal, interest, the taxes, and insurance comes out to be $485 cash flow. These tenants, we tried to get them to move out so we can get a higher rent. They did not want to move, so they weren't really asking for any repairs either. I actually never seen any of these. This is the only property I saw. These other properties I never even been into or saw them, so I had some pictures, but they weren't that great. But we kept those tenants in there because they didn't ask for any repairs, and we were good without doing any repairs, and for the cash flow we were still receiving from having such a great deal with low cash out of pocket, or really no cash out of pocket. So Morgan Street, that one had a tenant in there. That was a Section 8 tenant who was getting $875 a month in rent, and that loan payment was $270 a month. Super low on that one, $270 a month. This one had low taxes, low insurance, so that's taxes and insurance for the year. So this one right here was netting $405 a month. So this one's netting $405 a month. Now Long Ave next. This one we kept the tenant in place. This one was paying $850 a month, and the debt service on this was $448 a month. Taxes were $100. Insurance was $250. This was in a flood zone, so we had to get flood insurance, which obviously raises the cost for our insurance. So on this one, we really weren't cash flowing that great. So the net on this one was only $52 a month. So for about a year, these properties were doing great. The total cash flow on these was $942. So we take that number for each one, we are netting $942 a month. So the cash flow for each property nets us $942 a month, but we had this $250 a month for the private money because we didn't use any of our own money. We borrowed money. So that comes out to $692 a month. that was our net. So after all expenses, our true net on this property was $692 a month times 12 months. We were making $8304 a year. So with none of our own money, buying properties subject to borrowing private money, fund the cash to close in the renovation, we were netting $8,300 a year with none of our own money, and these properties were cash flowing very well. Now, the first tenant to move out was Lake Ave. They found a house they wanted to buy. It was like September of 2021. We put the property on the market. Right after they moved out, we got a buyer right away, and we got this property on Lake Ave. We got it sold for $169. So this property on Lake Ave, after the tenant moved out, all we did was get it made and some pictures done, and we got sold for $169. At closing, after the closing costs and paying off the mortgage balance, we were able to walk away with a profit of $111,266 off of one property that we held for 2 years. Obviously, we had great appreciation during this time frame, but we got in these properties with none of our own money. Now, this property on Long Avenue was the next one to vacate. So after we saw that we can get these high numbers on this property, we were like, man, let's just get all these properties out and just sell and take the money that we can on during this market, because these weren't great houses in great areas. These were houses that like I would not want to hold long term. So let's capitalize. So we got this tenant out on Long Ave. We put $60K into the property, and we sold Long Ave for $197. So $197, we netted at the closing table. Cash to seller was $106.5, but we put $60K of our own capital into the property for rehab. So we profited on that deal, $46,500. Same thing happened with Morgan. This property got, we asked the tenant to leave, which actually took a long time for her to get out of there. And we just sold this property, and it just closed in August, and it also sold for $197. This one we also had $60K rehab, but at closing we walked away with $147,000, $60K rehab, and we netted $87,000 on this deal. We took a lot less cash from over here, even though it was the same sales price and the mortgage is roughly the same, is because this is the property where we paid off the private money for $30K. So that's why it was about $30K less. So on this deal, holding these properties for roughly about 2 years, 2.5 years, we made $111,266, $46.5, $87,000 on these properties. So we profited almost profited $250,000, almost $250,000 on a property we bought with none of our own money. We actually got it for $1,500, but really didn't use any of our own money. Held it for a couple of years. The cash flow was okay. It worked out well with us, but this is what we were able to do it. So for us, and what I'm looking to do more of, is buy more properties this way, hold them for a little bit of time, add value, fix them up, eventually resell them down the line, and buy better assets. So we've been selling a lot of our junk assets, a lot of our houses that we don't really want to hold in a portfolio for a long time, and buy better assets. So we've taken these funds and put them towards higher, better use properties, Airbnbs, self-storage facilities, and we're even buying those creatively. So make sure you stay tuned every Monday to get more creative deals presented to you by the numbers, going over Airbnbs, self-storage, single family houses, and how you can put this into action and make this kind of money. Real money.